the god of death. He's like the Grim Reaper, but 1,000 times more powerful. For the next 100 days, ultimate power will be at my bony fingertips. No mortal soul will be able to withstand my might as I grow into more powerful forms. However, being a god won't be easy, especially when the god of life is trying to steal all my power for himself. Make sure you watch to the end of the video, because you do not want to miss out on my ultimate final transformation. On day 1, I spawned in as the god of death in the Underworld, ruling over my domain. Suddenly, a portal ripped open, and the god of life stormed inside with his army.
I've taken power from the ultimate dead, the one above all. It's time that I take the Underworld for myself.
My guards clashed with his own in an all-out war over the fate of the Underworld. They fought tooth and nail, but neither side was giving in. Rage seared through my body. I couldn't believe the god of life dared to test me. I flew towards him and attacked. You're leaving my realm at once. The epic battle between the gods of life and death unfolded. He cloned himself, and it was hard to tell which one was the real god of life. The god of life was 2 times my size, but my rage fueled me. I shot my flames at him, dealing some damage to my opponent, but I was too small, so my attacks were not strong enough to weaken the god of life. He started spinning quickly, releasing white particles around him, and suddenly he lunged at me, trying to swipe at me with his bulky knife. The two of us both had incredible abilities, but the god of life somehow bested me. No, this isn't possible. We are both the same strength.
Not anymore. I've taken the ultimate deity's power for myself.
I didn't understand how the ultimate deity could have betrayed me. I rushed towards the altar to speak to the one above all through it, but the god of life teleported on top of it. He then took the opportunity to destroy the altar before my eyes. No! How will I speak to the one above all now? The army of life began to close in on me, so I took to the skies before I was killed.
Don't let him escape!
On day 2, I was being chased through the Underworld by the god of life's army. Stand down! I sliced through them with my scythe. More portals tore open around me, and the army of life poured out of them. No matter how many I cut through, the army was overwhelming me with their limitless numbers. I have to think of another plan. I summoned my own undead army from the ground below. My men crawled up from the dirt and began to fight off the incoming soldiers, buying me some time to push forward. What's gotten into the god of life? We have lived in balance for years. Suddenly, a powerful beast of life crashed through the wall of my hiding spot.
You're coming with me.
He lunged at me with his axe, and I braced myself for combat. On day 3, I was defending myself from the god of life's powerful pet, Godrius. I began by summoning my necro dogs, and they clawed at his legs, overwhelming him. Godrius responded by raising up on his back and coming back down, smacking the ground hard, clearing the area around, launching my necro dogs and I in the air. As I was in the air, I started blasting the beast with my scythe rings. Unfortunately, my rings were only making him more aggressive. Just when I thought I had him on the ropes, he began to launch axes, and on impact, it caused a heavy explosion, dealing massive damage to me. The beast was powerful, and the two of us were matched in strength. It was anyone's battle. Suddenly, the beast of life managed to mark me with a strange emblem called the Eye of Life. What is this? In my moment of hesitation, the monster caught me off guard and knocked me down. I had to think fast. Come, Cerberus! Suddenly, my own pet, the demon hound Cerberus, came to my aid. He clashed with the monster, using all his strength to bite and slash at the light beast. With the two monsters fighting, I was able to use the distraction to flee from his onslaught.
Fool, you're marked. There's nowhere to hide now.
Just then, more portals opened around me, causing more of the guards of life to come storming in my direction. The Eye of Life was giving away my location. I flew away as the enemy forces continued to pursue me. On day 4, I was being chased through the Underworld by the God of Life's forces. I need to go locate the one above all and find out what's happening. I flew towards the exit of the Underworld, only to find that it was being guarded by more of the God of Life's army. They spotted me and began to run towards my direction as the guards behind me closed in. I was now sandwiched between two hordes of foes. I looked for a way out and noticed an entrance above my head. I flew up inside and evaded the attack just in the lick of time. I now found myself inside of a mysterious ruin. Maybe I can reach the portal by taking the tunnels in here. I began to wander through the area when I accidentally bumped into a button on the floor. What was that? The room shook and a horde of skeleton thrashers came chasing after me. I tried to fight them off, but there was too many, even for me to handle. I fled through the ruins in an attempt to escape the swarm. I finally made it to a large room where the doors shut behind me. Wait, I'm stuck in here! Just then, I heard a low growl coming from the room. A horrible guardian came barreling towards me. On days 5 through 6, I was facing off with a guardian of the ruins. The monster was incredibly powerful, and I was weak from the previous battle, making this a tough fight. It lunged at me with its gnarled teeth bared. I knew I had to keep away from those dangerous chompers. I flew into the air and summoned my necro dogs to keep him at bay while I attacked from afar. The monster was enraged. It summoned an attack that allowed his jaws to extend in a line. He pounded the ground and sent a massive shockwave that rattled the floor. The two of us fought neck and neck until out of nowhere, the God of Life's pet dropped down onto the Guardian, killing him instantly.
Found you!
You just made a big mistake. Using my godly power, I revived the Guardian from the dead. Only now, he was under my control. Together, the Guardian and I unleashed our power onto Godrius. The beast snapped at him with its fangs, tearing into Godrius's armored hide, while I called out my necro dogs once again to assist us. I sent a burst of necrotic rings at Godrius, seeping his life force away from him and causing him to grow weaker. Godrius did his best to keep up with the onslaught of attacks, but nothing he did could compete with us. How the tables have turned. Thanks to the Guardian's strength, I managed to strike down the Beast of Life.
You can't kill me!
Suddenly, his body began to glow, and the monster was reborn into a powerful Godrius Archangel. Armed with his blade of life, he slashed through the Guardian, killing him in one swoop. The floor collapsed underneath us from the sheer power of the attack. Looks like I spoke too soon! I quickly flew out of the ruins, through the opening in the ground. On days 7 through 8, I was being chased through the sky of the Underworld by the Godrius Archangel. The foe shot projectiles of life at me, which I did my best to dodge and weave his attacks. One wrong move could bring my journey to an end. He's quick! I need to get him off my tail! I thought fast and got an idea. Hey, look up!
What is it?
The Godrius stopped in confusion, and I used my power to aim at some loose rubble in the ceiling, shooting it down towards my enemy. The rubble crashed down on the Godrius, sending him into the ground. Take that! To my shock, the Godrius blasted free from the gravel.
You're not getting away from me!
He managed to hit me with a powerful attack, causing my wing to get clipped. I plummeted down from the sky and fell through a deep, deep chasm. On days 9 through 10, I hit the ground with only half a heart of health remaining. I looked around and realized I was inside an angel base that had been built in front of the exit to the Underworld. Wow, they work fast! Just then, I spotted the Godrius Archangel looking for me. I took cover, narrowly avoiding his line of sight.
I know you're around here somewhere. Show yourself!
I need to find a way to heal up fast. I began to stealth around the angel base, doing my best to avoid the guards that patrolled the area. One wrong move and the Godrius would sure to catch me. Just then, a guard spotted me. Before he had the chance to alert the others, I lunged at him and killed him in one fell swoop. This place is dangerous. I need to find a healing item quick. I kept moving until I finally spotted what I had been searching for, an enchanted golden apple. But just as I was about to grab the item, another guard spotted me.
There's the death god. Get him.
My cover had been blown. The guards came towards me like a swarm of angry hornets. On days 11 through 13, I was facing off with the Army of Life in an epic battle for the golden apple. I sliced through them left and right with my godly powers, but more and more continued to come after me. My health was dangerously low, and one hit too many would end me. The guards had an upper hand with their numbers, so I had to play it smart. I couldn't fly very well well anymore, so I used my speed to maneuver around my opponents and struck them when I could. They tried cutting me with their butcher-like knives, but I was able to evade it, fighting back with my scythe rings. My enemies were able to counter my quickness by aggressively slashing their knives in the ground, causing a wave of purple magic to emerge, sending me flying backwards. With a powerful hit, I managed to clear a path and claim the healing item I needed, restoring me back to full health. Just then, the Godrius touched down in front of me.
This ends here.
He lunged towards me, and I braved myself for battle. I started blasting scythe rings and summoning my necro dogs at him to slow down his charge, but it didn't seem to affect him. He slashed me with his sword and combined it with his trident, dealing a great amount of health. I tried to keep my distance from the Godrius Archangel and attacked from afar, while my dogs clawed at him. The Godrius was smart, and he jumped up and landed, causing the ground to break, sending my dogs and blocks everywhere. The Godrius was filled with rage, and there wasn't much I could do. He was too powerful for me to defeat, but I had an idea. Come, warriors of life! Using my powers, I revived the fallen life soldiers as my very own army of the undead. They swarmed in and began to aid me in battle. With their targeting features, the Godrius was no longer able to evade as many attacks. We continued to rain down blow after blow on our enemy, until finally, the Godrius succumbed to our might. We had won! Suddenly, I felt a new power surge through me. I grew bigger in size, gained an additional pair of wings, as well as another powerful scythe. I was now an empowered god of death with 5 more hearts and a new weapon. I can feel the power flowing through me. I didn't have time to celebrate before the god of life arrived to capture me himself.
There you are. Ready for your end?
Oh no, I'm not ready! I took my chance to flee through the exit of the castle, and I found myself at the gate of the Underworld. If I wanted to find the answers, I needed to seek out the ultimate deity, the one above all. So I left my home for the first time. On days 14 to 17, I arrived in the Overworld. This place was so much different than what I was used to. I gotta find a place to lay low. Quickly, I broke the portal behind me, then started searching for a place to hide, only to find a village that was in disarray. What's this all about? Villagers ran in horror as an angered spirit wielding a sword terrorized their home. Oh no, nature is out of balance. I need to find the one above all, fast. I swooped in to protect the villagers by taking the spirit head on. She reacted quickly. I swiped at her with my scythes, flying back and unleashing lightning as I gained some distance. She used a power to pull me back within striking range and summoned an angelic hammer, slamming it down on me. I blasted her with my scythe rings and spirit fire. As I dodged her attacks, my arcane chains ripped through the earth and whipped at her, and she retaliated by throwing a barrage of angelic daggers at me. They were tough, and I couldn't go too crazy with my abilities without putting the village at more risk, so I came up with a better plan, forcing the spirit to retreat. You will be banished from this village or suffer infinite tormenting on your soul. Okay, then stand down. With the threat looming over the spirit, they fled the scene. Just then, a villager ran up to me with concerns.
We'll soon die of hunger if you can't capture her.
Then I have to end this. I followed the runaway spirit before the village would starve to death. On days 18 to 21, I chased after the angered spirit until I reached a mysterious cave full of water pools. This looks interesting. I wonder if I tried to touch it, but the water caused me to take damage. This isn't normal water. It's blessed life water. I have to avoid it if I don't want to get hurt. I traversed through the cavern some more, still looking for the spirit. Eventually, I caught sight of them and continued my chase. I dodged pillars of water that were pouring from the ceiling, making sure not to get hit. I couldn't slow down, otherwise I would lose sight of them. Get back here! Suddenly, more waterfalls began to open from the ceiling. I dodged and weaved until finally I was getting closer. Before I was able to reach the spirit, they dove straight into a massive waterfall and disappeared on the other side. No, there's no way through this! Quick on my feet, I noticed an eerie alternate path. I decided to take it before the spirit escaped me for good. On days 22 to 25, I traveled through the mysterious passage, using my ghostly green body to light the way forward. forward. I stopped in my tracks as cave spirits came pouring out from all sides of the passage. I'm warning you, back off! The horde of spirits rushed at me, their restless wails assaulting my ears. I backed up, hoping to keep some distance between them and me, but the space I was in was too small. I had no choice but to hold my ground. I called upon every ounce of power that I had, causing lightning to rain down, striking many foes at once. The onslaught seemed never-ending. To my surprise, some of them began to hurl orbs of darkness in my direction, but I pushed through it and rapidly fired back with my necrotic slashes. In a short time, I was able to take out the mob of spirits. It cleared the way for me to press forward. After a bit more walking, I arrived inside the den of the spirit I was looking for. They were already there, sitting on a mound of their treasure. Surrender the food immediately! With immense urgency, she scarfed down a mysterious piece of food and then transformed into an even stronger entity. On days 26 to 29, I was fighting the empowered spirit in a round 2. The enraged spirit dashed towards me, multiple arms swinging as she tried to grab me. Each swipe left a trail of withering shadows in its wake, surging forward with immense force that dealt incredible damage. I tried to dodge out of the way and fired back with necrotic rays and slashes, but the spirit launched a ray of wither skulls into me. They exploded on impact and left me momentarily reeling. She took the opportunity to get as many swipes in as she could, eating away at my health. While she was momentarily distracted, I ran for the horde of food and grabbed some, immediately chowing down in hopes to regain some health. Thankfully, it worked, and I ran into the fight again with renewed vigor. I channeled every ounce of strength I had into one more attack. At last, I had defeated the vicious spirit. The spirit vanished. I better feed the village before it's too late. I quickly grabbed the food from the spirit den and returned to the villagers. I handed out their stolen food as they celebrated. They tossed over some of the food and a map to the temple of the one above all. Maybe I can communicate with him there. I wasted no time and began to follow the map. Unfortunately, I hadn't gotten too far when I suddenly heard someone screaming in the distance. That doesn't sound good. I better hurry. On days 30 to 33, I ran to the source of the screaming to see a horde of skeletons on fire from the harmful rays of the sun. All of you, hold still! I was about to use my power to protect them when another spirit appeared and attacked me. The spirit manifested itself as a knight in pale blue armor. I flew backward and attacked him from afar, hoping to hold him off, but the knight continued to shamble toward me stubbornly. In frustration, I released my arcane chains, whipping at him as they ripped through the earth. He was tough, shrugging off my attacks. They were wasting my time. The skeletons were still burning and dying left and right. Quickly, I summoned a necrotic energy dome to shield the skeletons, protecting them. As I did this, the spirit ran by, escaping into the nearby forest. They're responsible for this? I won't let that happen. As fast as I could, I raced after the creature in hopes to restore balance. On days 34 to 37, I followed the spirit's trail until I arrived at a sanctuary. There, I saw people honoring the spirit. I wonder what this is all about. Just then, one of them spotted me.
Hey, who are you? Are you a believer of the spirit?
What? No! You'll pay for harming the creatures of the night!
Followers, kill this non-believer.
Without another word, the followers turned onto me and gave me everything they had within them to try and kill me. As they attacked, I realized that much like the Spirit Knight, the followers also had weapons that were imbued with life magic. That meant that this fight had suddenly become a whole lot harder. I did what I could to evade the holy attacks, but each time I was struck by their energy, I found it harder and harder to retaliate. I swarmed them with a flurry of necrotic attacks, slashing and hacking with my twin scythes to deal as much damage as possible. But to my annoyance, one of the followers summoned an angelic being that healed all of them a great deal. This was getting too intense. Please, your spirit isn't acting how they usually do. They refused to listen, but I didn't want to kill them. I used another necrotic energy dome to trap all of the the followers safely in one place.
Spirit, help us. Yes, help us out of here. We're your loyal followers.
Sorry, I can't be bothered right now.
The spirit ignored the followers' pleas and took something from their altar before running away. He's headed straight for the temple. I have to stop him. I followed after them once more, hoping to end this madness. On days 38 to 41, I followed the spirit to the peak of the mountain, where I found a temple of the one above all. Why are you doing this?
Because I've always preferred the god of life, and so does the one above all. Your journey ends here.
The spirit knight was nothing to me now. Since I had already fought him, I was familiar with all of his moves. His defense was high thanks to his armor, making it difficult to deal a lot of damage. But I knew that every hit I got on him was draining his health bit by bit. I slashed with my necrotic blade, knocking him back.
It's not over. Don't forget what I took from the altar.
They placed down the artifact and transformed into a stronger, more corrupt form.
You thought you had a chance of winning? Think again.
This new form of the Spirit Knight was menacingly strong as he rode atop his horse, swinging his glaive as he sped by on the snow-covered ice. He used his new edge to his advantage, zooming back and forth around me as I tried to swing at him with my twin sights. Since that didn't seem to pierce through his armor, I summoned forth a surge of electricity, finally dealing him some significant damage. With another slash of my weapon, I knocked him off his horse. He seemed unbothered by this though, and simply drew another blade to compensate for his lost steed. Almost immediately, he stomped heavily into the ice, causing jagged rocks to jet out from the ground, nearly spearing through me. I was really struggling now. I knew things weren't looking good for me. They rushed me with a heavy hit, leaving me with low health.
So long, god of death.
On days 42 to 45, I was about to be killed. I knew I had to think of something quick. In a moment of desperation, I fled into the temple for the one above all. As the spirit chased me in, I landed a critical blow on the temple, causing it to collapse. The debris from the holy monument crushed the spirit, saving me from death. I'm gonna have to find another way to communicate with the one above all, now that the temple has been obliterated. Suddenly, I felt the power from the temple surge through me. Instantly, I transformed into a more powerful form. My wings grew larger. As my horns extended, I felt my entire stature grow, imbued with power. I gained 5 hearts and new powers. I felt like I was unstoppable now. I've gained some of the ultimate deity's power, just like the god of life. Before there was any celebration, the ground trembled and a cursed entity emerged from the rubble.
Now that the pesky temple is out of the way, I can rule this land as I please.
Stand down! The cursed spirit flew straight towards me, landing a powerful attack onto me. On days 46 through 49, I was locked in combat against the cursed entity. I wouldn't allow them to terrorize the overworld anymore. His sword glowed, leaving behind fire as he swung at me. I used my arcane lightning, blasting him as he charged forward. I dodged his attacks and moved to get a better angle, when he stopped and called forth a group of imps, who immediately began throwing fireballs at me. I used my newly acquired powers, launching a black hole at them, but it only stopped them for a moment. Their attacks were unrelenting. The cursed spirit stomped at the ground, shaking the earth and flinging me across the battlefield. I fought desperately, slashing with my twin blades as I weaved between his attacks. I tried to get some distance between us, launching scythe rings as I retreated, but I found myself stuck in place as hands broke through the earth, clawing and grabbing at me. The cursed spirit took advantage, meeting me with his mighty sword. As I was powerless to defend myself, I released a blast of razor-sharp ice, raining down on him as I finally broke free. Despite my best efforts, I just couldn't get one over on this thing. My attacks didn't seem to do anything except annoy it. I was on the ropes and was staring down at my own defeat when suddenly the skeletons I saved from earlier rushed to my aid. They descended upon the spirit, overwhelming it with their numbers as they clashed viciously to defend me. The spirit struck out at them, but there were just too many for it. The skeletons attacked from every direction, pulling its attention away from me.
We'll hold this guy off. Go to the cemetery. You can speak to the one above all and stop this madness once and for all.
Without any hesitation, I took this chance to make my move, leaving the battle behind as my allies fought on. After some time, I finally arrived at the cemetery. I took a look around and found another altar standing before me. As soon as my hand connected with the altar, I was thrusted into a vision. On days 50 through 53, I found myself in a mysterious realm with the God of Gods, the one above all. Oh, great one, how has the God of Life gained so much power?
That traitor stole it from me. Now I'm trapped in this other realm and cannot intervene. Come, find me, and I'll grant you your power.
Where? How can I find you? With a flash, I was returned to reality before the one above all could respond. No! What happened? I looked around and saw the altar had been destroyed by a gang of undead mobs. Because of them, my vision was broken, and I lost my chance to learn where the one above all was located. You'll pay for this! I was about to unleash my wrath on them when even more mobs burst out from the ground. Without warning, I turned to move as they began grasping and latching onto me. I tried to break free as they began pulling me down into the graveyard, my vision going black as I sank into the earth. On days 54 through 57, I woke up in a deep, dark biome, surrounded by the undead mobs that had dragged me down here. I took in my surroundings and realized I was stuck inside some kind of ritual circle, its magic suppressing my movement.
You'll make the perfect sacrifice. The Dark One will be pleased.
You'll pay for this disloyalty, traitor. With renewed anger, I broke myself free from the magic circle, ready to unleash my fury on the undead mobs. I jumped in immediately with powerful scythe slashes, then called down upon my lightning and ice magics to rain down from above the mobs and strike down many at once. The undead creatures seethed and fought back mercilessly, using their own powers to dull my senses and blind me. With a new burst of anger, I brought out my new power and launched it at them, drawing my foes in, then exploding, killing many enemies at once. I was no longer messing around. These guys were wasting my time. I was finally able to overpower them. As I finished striking down what I thought was the last of the traitors, I caught one I had missed out of the corner of my eye. They were running away blindly, trying to escape the battle. I wasn't able to catch them as they headed right past a group of skulk sensors. The ground began to tremble and shake as a massive Warden monster appeared. The monster was in a state of absolute fury, striking and killing the mob before slowly turning to face me.
You, give me your dark power.
The beast charged at me wildly, and I prepared myself, ready to face it head on. On days 58 to 61, I was facing off against the Warden monster. The Warden dug his way into the ground, disappearing. For a moment, I thought he'd run away, but then I saw the ground shifting in a direct line toward me. I had only a split second to prepare before the Warden burst out of the ground, crawling wildly. As his sharp nails ripped into me, my vision went dark. The Warden had temporarily blinded me. I leapt back and called down my chains of lightning. I couldn't see him, but hopefully with a huge attack like that, I would hit him. This seemed to work as the Warden roared. I continued to rain down with bursts of lightning and shards of ice, as well as slash with my necrotic powers at the Warden, hoping to whittle down his health as much as possible. This monster was bursting at the brim with power as he clawed, smashed, and screamed, impressively keeping neck and neck with me. In a fit of desperation, I threw out a massive black hole, but the Warden simply evaded it by disappearing underground. This creature couldn't see, but his beastly senses were almost impossible to compete with. I had to find a way to give myself an edge. These guys had sensitive hearing. Maybe I could overwhelm him with noise. I summoned allied undead mobs to come to my aid. When they appeared, they walked around the creature, making it hard for him to locate my sound over the noise of their footsteps.
Oh, my ears! Show yourself!
I took his vulnerability as the moment to knock him down, finally defeating him.
You may have defeated me, but you're too late. The blood moon is rising, and the cursed spirit will use that to his advantage.
Not if I have something to say about it. I slayed the beast, and then left the depths of the deep dark. I had to stop the cursed spirit before they could harness the blood moon's power. On days 62 to 65, I encountered the cursed creature at sunset. Stand down, or I'll slay you.
I'd like to see you try.
The cursed spirit surged forward, ready to attack. He was still tough as nails. With his fiery blade in hand, he swung viciously at me. Blows from this spirit hurt badly. I drifted back and summoned my necro dog to assist me, to which he responded by calling forth his own summons. I followed up with bursts of chain lightning lightning and storms of ice. The cursed spirit's armor was extremely sturdy though. It appeared as though every attack I made was only half as effective against him. Still, I persisted. Things were finally beginning to turn in my favor, when suddenly I felt an overwhelming sense of dread. I looked around and realized that the sky had turned red. The blood moon had risen. Before my eyes, the spirit grew bigger and more powerful. Don't you laugh, you're up against the god of death. As we renewed our fight, he ascended into the sky. The blood moon had truly sent him into a bloodthirsty overdrive, granting him incredible new powers and a massive new form. He now dwarfed me in size, and his attacks were able to injure me faster than before. In an instant, he began blasting me with a deadly blinding laser. I did my best to avoid it and continued with the black hole, which he dodged the effects of expertly. Just as I was beginning to become accustomed to his attack patterns, he began launching wither skulls in my direction, wounding me badly. He followed up with an electrical attack that sent shockwaves through my body. This was it. I had to figure out some way to help myself. With this spirit's boost to his own powers, there was no way I stood a chance now. However, an idea crossed my mind. I looked to the sky and harnessed the power of the moon for myself. As its magic was channeled into me, I was restored to full health. With renewed vitality surging in my veins, I struck the spirit down in one final blow. With its death, the blood moon disappeared. These unnatural occurrences are only getting worse. But how am I supposed to find the one above all? In the next moment, portals ripped the air open around me, and the guards of life swarmed the area. I hadn't realized it, but my eye of life had given me away. I slashed through them left and right, but their forces just continued to swamp me. As I continued to hack, I was struck by an idea. I need to find the altar in the realm of life. I pushed my way through the guards and fled into one of the open portals. On days 66 through 70, I arrived on the other side of the portal, now standing before a base in the realm of life. Immediately, I was spotted as all the guards locked eyes on me. Oh great, that's not even fair.
Look, it's the god of death! Everyone, get him!
Within seconds, a gang of guards came rushing at me, ready to bring me down. They spun and charged at me, firing off blue divine flames as they did. I summoned ice to counter the flames, hoping to cool them down. I tried to evade their attacks, but with their targeting capabilities, they were able to hone in on me and hit me every time. With my limited food supply, I was barely able to stay afloat against these vicious guards. Suddenly, it struck me. It seemed like they were stronger here in their own realm of life. Despite their toughness, I was still able to overpower them, but more and more kept appearing. Their power is growing greater by the day. I need to put an end to this before it's too late. I launched a black hole, sucking them all into one large group and slowing their movements. Unfortunately, one of the guards managed to evade the attack and was running off to rally more backup. I chased after him, hoping to stop them before they could get any help. On days 71 to 74, I followed the straggler to a library. Watching from afar, I saw as they reported to one of the gods of life's generals inside. The general's gaze swept the area, and I ducked behind cover, narrowly avoiding his harsh stare. That was a close one!
I can sense him nearby. Guard our war plans.
War plans? I need to get my hands on those. I leapt out from my hiding spot and intervened, killing the straggler in a single hit.
You've finally shown yourself. Now face my wrath.
The general ran at me with a roar. The general called down a rain of razor-sharp crystals. The crystals exploded outward into jagged shards that impaled my skin. Next, he summoned magic circles that spun around like blades. They teleported around and sliced into everything in their path. I retaliated with my own rain of ice, hoping to hit the general. In order to evade my attack, they went invisible. I used every area of effect attack I had, aiming around with chains of lightning and shadow balls. Eventually, he reappeared and I struck him. One of his heads was destroyed and the general entered a fury. With his remaining strength, he began to spray bewitching beams in my direction. It felt like acid was searing into my skin. He was tough, but I was too close to learning a valuable clue to allow myself to lose. Just give up! I powered through the pain and blasted a black hole at the General of Life one last time, finally downing him. I felt energy rush through my being as my vitality soared. I had obtained 5 more hearts, as well as a new Wither explosion ability. This'll come in handy. I noticed that upon his death, the general had dropped the war plans he'd mentioned. I picked them up and read them aloud. Tomorrow, we will destroy the last method of communication with the one above all. The god of death doesn't stand a chance. God of life. Oh no, I have to stop them before it's too late. On days 75 to 78, I finally found the altar in the realm of life. Yes, this is it! I was about to connect with it when the god of life appeared and intervened.
Look what we have here. You've been a real thorn in my side, you know.
You, step away from the altar.
Never! You're not speaking to the one above all.
In a surge of motion, he attacked me. The god of life released his gray time beam, striking me and slowing my movements down to a crawl. Lightning rained down on me as he charged forward wildly, slicing at me with his daggers, my body moving as if it was dragging through molasses. I endured the attack, my speed returning, and I fled backwards, unleashing a torrent of scythe circles. The god of life dodged them effortlessly and closed the ground between us in a blink of an eye. We exchanged slashes and stabs as we struck each other with scythes and daggers. I released a blast of necro lightning, thinking I was getting the upper hand, when he began spinning rapidly. Without warning, a second god of life appeared. They both charged at me, stabbing at me with their daggers. I felt his time powers embrace me again. I watched on in horror as he split off and formed a third clone. Once I returned to my normal speed, I used my black hole power, trapping them all and launching my wither blast to destroy them all in one fell swoop. The real one teleported away before the impact. Within seconds, even more clones descended upon me. Every attack I landed on them seemed to heal almost instantly. His life powers were keeping him sustained. We battled across the mountaintops, clashing amongst the altar. It was a true battle of the gods. Soon, I realized that there was no way I was able to win. Moments after that realization, I was knocked to low health.
You call yourself the god of death? Pathetic. You will never stand up to my ultimate power.
He turned to the altar and blasted it, destroying it completely. No! Then he turned to me and struck me, knocking me out. On days 79 through 82, I woke up inside a cage, surrounded by guards. I looked around, taking in my surroundings, and realized I was hanging over a pit of life water. If they dropped me in there, I'm done for. I tried to smash my way out of the cage, but it didn't even budge. The bars must have been imbued with life magic. Oh no, this isn't looking good. Is this the end of me?
Stop right there!
The villagers of the Overworld I had saved came rushing into the area and began fighting the guards. They were holding their own during the fight, and I watched as one of the villagers managed to navigate to a switch and activate it. The door to the cage opened, and I rushed out to help fight the guards. Thanks for freeing me. I can't believe you came back.
But of course we came back for you. You're our savior.
More guards came rushing into the room, eager to stop my escape. I was ready to defend myself and my followers. On days 83 through 86, I was facing off against a horde of guards with my allies, hoping to draw as much fire as I could away from the villagers. I would be able to withstand much more than they could. I used my black holes to my advantage. I was able to draw in guards to one spot and then launch a flurry of sight and wither skull attacks at them. The guards responded by swarming me. Their attacks slashed into my form, and with so many at once, I could feel my health draining away fast. I retaliated in an instant with a quick succession of necrotic scythe attacks. Between opponents, I spoke with my followers whenever I could. Why did you return for me?
We believe in you. We couldn't let you die here.
The villagers' words inspired me. These followers were relying on me to save their world. I couldn't let them down. With renewed strength, I re-entered the battle. I knew that I had to put an end to this, and soon. I'm going to find another way to communicate with the one above all, no matter what. I struck down another guard, and another, but more and more continued to fill in for any who were lost. Their numbers seemed endless. We weren't going to be able to keep this up forever. As long as I have this Eye of Life, they're going to keep coming.
Remove your mark. We can handle things here.
I listened to him and continued moving forward as my allies held off the guards. Good luck! I won't let you down! On days 87 through 90, I stumbled upon a room where a massive glowing core was waiting. I felt my mark making its power known. This was the source of its power. I had finally found it. Yes! Time to end this once and for all! I was about to strike it down when I heard someone approaching. I turned around to see a general stepping forward.
I don't think you want to do that. Your precious followers are in our grasp.
No! What did you do with them?
Fool, they were no match for our gods. They're being held in cells currently, and the god of life will execute them in due time.
You won't get away with this! I ran at him in a wild fury, determined to make him pay. The guard began his attack by swinging his axe wildly, hitting me straight on. I jumped back and launched some wither blasts at him, dealing damage to him and some of the battlefield. The guard roared and lunged again, axe gripped tightly in both hands. He was a simple fighter, and his attacks were easy to read, but his brute strength was unparalleled. When I got hit, he dealt enough damage that nothing else mattered. I had him immersed in a black hole, and he threw his axe at me to reach me even from within the depths of the incredible gravity. We met again at the center of the room. I rained electricity down on him, hoping to gain an edge, but the guard just roared and charged at me with his head lowered, intent on goring me with his horns. I dodged nimbly out of the way, using my flight to my advantage. I was in trouble. The general could track my every move, and I was at a major disadvantage. There wasn't any way I was going to be able to beat him and win this fight. The only chance I had was to target the orb. It took a little bit of fancy footwork, but I was finally able to line up the general with the orb. Right as he swung at me, his attacks connected with the orb, destroying it. The Eye of Life vanished from my inventory.
No! How dare you trick me!
I took the opportunity to flee, leaving the general shocked and dismayed.
Run while you can! You'll pay for this! I won't stop looking for you until you're dead!
I was free from the mark, but I couldn't leave just yet. I still needed to save my followers before the God of Life could kill them. I set off and began searching the area. On days 91 to 93, I was sure to be stealthy around the Life stronghold, searching for my allies. Although the place was crawling with guards, I wasn't marked with the Eye of Life anymore, making me a much tougher target to find. I continued to sneak around the different areas of the stronghold, narrowly avoiding detection. I had to think fast at some moments. Just then, I used my summoning abilities to conjure a distraction, using Cerberus.
Something's over here! I need some backup!
Haha, too easy! Finally, I arrived at the room where my Overworld allies were being held. Don't worry, I'm here to help! Just then, the General of Life barged in behind me.
Perfect! I knew you'd be here!
How'd you know I'd be here?
I knew you'd come looking after my taunts. You slipped through my fingers for the last time.
Without another second to spare, he launched his power right at me. On days 94 to 96, I faced off with the General. This time, I was fighting for my allies' freedom. He immediately charged at me with his horns, causing me to take flight. I flew around in desperation to evade his aggressive attacks. I shot my black hole power, covering his whole body with black magic, dealing serious damage to the beast. My opponent and I went back and forth, but it seemed every time I landed an attack, his strike was twice as powerful. He was so strong. I was taking hits left and right. I really didn't think I could stand a chance. I was knocked back, low in hearts and in desperation. I thought I was done for, until one of my followers shouted at me.
Don't give up! We believe in you!
Do it!
I can't lose, not here! With the chance from my followers, I felt a sudden rush of power. I gained more hearts and a new ability, necrotic beams. With this, I can attack the power of life directly. The General came after me, and we clashed into battle once more. I felt stronger and more powerful from my upgrade. I instantly started blasting my new necrotic beam. He threw his axe at me, but I quickly flew out of the way, evading it. I countered-attacked by summoning my scythe power, making icicles rain rain down on top of him. Against my new power, the invincible general started to crumble. Finally, I managed to win, thanks to the support of my followers, giving me some extra morale. Don't worry, guys, I got you. I began freeing my followers from the cells, but as I was in the middle of liberation, more and more guards came to stop me. Quickly, everyone get close together. With the blink of an eye, I teleported everyone out before the guards got to us. On days 97 to 98, my allies and I reappeared back in the Overworld, safe and sound.
Oh, God of Death, I have some urgent news.
They told me they overheard the whereabouts of the one above all while they were trapped in their cell. Where is he?
He is trapped in Limbo, where neither life nor death exists.
That sounds dangerous, but I'm going to have to take the risk.
Not if we make it there first.
I turned around just in time to see some of my villager followers were guards of life in disguise. I should have known something was fishy. How long have you been spies? The guards of life did not reply and promptly bombarded me and my forces. It was an all-out war within minutes.
Please, hurry. You have to make it to Limbo before the army of life does.
I listened to my followers' pleas and took to the skies while they stayed behind to fend off the guards. On day 99, I arrived at the gates of Limbo. There's no time to waste. I have to hurry before the army of life arrives. I ran inside, passing in between the giant arches, and was teleported to the realm of Limbo. There, I saw the one above all, looming over me, waiting.
It's good to see you finally made it here.
Please, tell me how I can defeat the God of Life.
As the god above gods, it is my duty to protect the land and put into check the wrongdoings of the deities below me. I can share my ultimate power with you, and with it, you should be able to finally defeat the God of Life.
Thank you. I would be honored to accept this power from you. Abruptly, the one above all was speared through with a massive ray. The air quaked as a massive explosion engulfed him. The God of Life then dropped down. No!
Bronzo, you are our only hope now. It is all up to you.
The one above all breathed his last breath as the ground around us began shaking violently. I felt a power ignite deep inside of me and gained the one above all's lightning powers. You just made a grave error.
We'll see about that.
The God of Life suddenly teleported us away. On day 100, I appeared in the God of Life's domain. I was ready to throw down. Awesome new power surged through me.
How are you so powerful? How could this have happened?
The one above all gave his power to me as he died. This is over for you. Surrender now.
Never! I deserve more! I deserve that power! I deserved everything! This isn't fair! I'll destroy you!
You're causing nature to collapse. Don't you see that? We need balance.
Balance? If you want your precious balance so bad, you'll have to defeat me first!
In a blind rage, the God of Life charged at me, and I readied myself for our epic clash. The God of Life shot a power at me, slowing my movement down. He then started to clone himself, and I couldn't tell which was the real one. It felt like I was fighting an entire army. I decided to use my black hole power to try and discern the fakes from the real one. I knew I had gotten him when the true one teleported out of my cloud of magic, completely avoiding the attack. He got in close and spun around swinging his dagger, but I was able to evade the piercing of his blades. He continued to duplicate himself, attempting to overwhelm me with sheer numbers. I managed to overcome the clones by using all-powerful area of effect attacks, like the lightning powers I'd received from the one above all. Although these attacks wore him down, it didn't stop him from attempting to use his time-slowing powers again. I felt like I was moving through jello as I tried to shatter his concentration with my necrotic attacks. As another black hole consumed him, he pushed his way through the pain. The God of Life was the toughest adversary I had fought so far, but the power of the one above all was surging through my body, and his sacrifice wouldn't be in vain. We continued to clash, but finally I was able to get the upper hand and struck the God of Life down.
Stop! Stop! You're so strong. I see it now. I understand the error of my ways. You were right, and I apologize for my transgressions.
With the God of Life defeated, I sighed with relief, knowing I had finally won. Yes! Bronzo!